Hello and welcome to yet another episode on the Untold. Today I'm with Ahmad ALMazeedi. I'm your co-host Hussein Ajouz. And today is all about HR.
HR, so interesting, right?
Human resources.
Human
We have to say
resources,
what it is.
yeah. And apparently there are new definitions and new titles for that.
And it's episode 2 with the same
Episode
guest.
2, I told you we're going to do
As
it. Bring him
promised.
back on for another episode.
With Abdulaziz Alroomi, essentially.
Yes.
For those that didn't watch it, watch the first episode before this one. Alright, let's just cut it short and start.
Yep.
Let's see it. The episode with Abdulaziz Alroomi 2.0. We're back to continue the episode with Abdulaziz Alroomi, who is actually on the Untold for the second time. Welcome to the Untold again. The
You're
first
making
session.
history now. It's the first time ever. First time ever.
The first session. It is actually the first time ever to have.
My pleasure.
The first session obviously wasn't enough to talk about everything that you do, so we want to continue the conversation. The first session we focused on leadership. I think now it's nice to continue the conversation about a topic that's slightly different. It's still within obviously your expertise, which is HR.
Yes.
So the big question is why? I mean, we spoke about leadership now. HR.
Yeah, how did you segue into human resources?
Well, basically, it's the pathway through leadership is human resource. Okay. I also hate that word. I'm gonna tell you why later.
Why?
No.
Yeah.
على طول?
Yeah,
Okay.
of course,
We're
because
on
you
the
hate
topic.
it.
We're on the topic now.
Because we're not resources, right? So we don't depreciate. We appreciate.
With assets.
We'll see. We'll see with
Coin your own phrase for human resources.
Yeah. Well, what would you say is the HR perfect term?
No, yeah, basically it's the people or the talent. So the new thing in HR, all right, that before it was certain people that are talent and the others are workers. أي عشان judging و labeling وكل هذا.
Okay.
All right, so now with talent management, everyone is a talent, so you expect everyone to be treated differently according to their values and their character and what have you.
It's like personalization.
Personalization. Yeah, salam alaikum. Okay. Now, some other companies, they call it the people department. Some call it the human capital. I think human capital is the best.
Interesting. Human capital.
title. Human capital is
instead of
human resources.
human resources.
I've actually been hearing this a lot where my friends have been telling me about their head of people.
Head of people.
Like head of people. Honestly,
yes.
it's like not HR, not human
It's people,
resources,
it's
like head
people.
of people. He basically, or she or he manages and takes care of the best of the people. Just make sure that they're there and become the best version.
Exactly.
But I guess, why do you have this interest in developing the leadership skills in human resources?
Well, basically, leaders, in order to attract, develop, and retain people or leaders, most likely, you need to have a solid HR system that was in the past. So what's the difference between HR and talent management? So HR is about payroll, which is important.
Right.
Of course.
Okay, and it's clear. You can see the value. They do it month by month. Okay, policies. Okay, but it's more about having strict guidelines, do's and don'ts.
Okay.
Where is the inspiration part comes is through talent management. Is when you know how you bring people that has the same values or contribute to the organizational values and automatically drive your organization towards the strategy and even further, which is the vision.
Of course.
So you'll be doing all of that.
So, it's
So
like
you
doing
do
a lot.
leadership, you do this, you do that. And basically you're feeding the organization with the talent pipeline.
So is this why you feel people kind of have this fear of the HR, or perhaps because HR is a very serious term. If we change it perhaps to head of people's department, would people be more fond of it and happier about it?
If they walk the talk.
What does that mean?
يعني I've been receiving every once in a while there's pictures on WhatsApp like comparing us to people in the occupied land. Okay, so HR are gathering together to decide something really bad. Okay, so manipulative, not trustworthy, not people's advocate, all of that. And in order to shift that, it's not only changing the title, but actually more of earning the people trust.
So people have like this idea of a conspiracy as being against
conspiracy
them.
theory. Yes.
Why do you think they have this in their heads?
Because we made them. Yeah, and it's our fault.
How?
alhamdulillah, in the Middle East, we lack communication
Right.
by all means. Okay.
Mashallah.
Plus, we're not transparent. Sometimes this is just because we're too masculine.
Very masculine,
society,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
So we don't go there and we say that we're sorry, we did something wrong,
Yeah.
or so then it's all. I mean, the HR get blamed. The second is we didn't say why we went with this company versus this company. Why this benefit over this benefit?
Okay.
So I think there is a lot of deal that's related to leadership. People not doing a fair deal of communication. Not really. They don't really know, as leaders, know their roles. And basically, the HR complements the leadership practices. So if you have a good leader, you have a happier HR, and vice versa.
Okay.
And then happier people.
And
More
is it
engaged
because that a good leader will lead to happier people, as you said, which
Yes.
means HR will have an easy job?
HR will work double the work any organization would do because they will do what every HR does, and they're doing the right work. Okay.
Okay.
So between doing between doing the right things and things right, there's a difference between managing and leading. Again,
Okay.
the right combination is management and leadership. So I do the right things and I do things right. So I do the right things by coming on time, make sure everyone comes on time, leave on time.
Yeah, well, no one does.
When I need to do exceptions, I do exceptions in order to make the right things. So now I'm an HR leader, I'm leading. As the organization are applauding this, genuine behavior from the HR. And this is the right ping pong or, teamwork between the management and HR to help the organization flourish through its people.
Okay, so I want to ask a question. Let's imagine a hypothetical situation. Okay, let's go back in time to the year 2000. Okay, and now 2023. Obviously, what if there's one thing you can say has been different over these 2 years? Because obviously that's 23 years ago.
Right.
What would you pinpoint to? Like, what's the one difference that changed over the years, whether to the better or to the worse?
Leadership and HR, because they come together.
Yeah.
How? We started listening to the term vulnerability, empowerment, authenticity, purpose, and all of that.
Only recently.
Recently.
Yes.
And now recently, we heard the terms people, head of staff, head of this. Recently.
Yeah.
And even more recent, after COVID.
What happened in COVID that made that
Then we
change?
went to the bottom line that we need to live our lives.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see.
Enough of that, يعني. In the 1800s, we started, it's more of the industrialization, management or style of, punching cards and everyone acting like robots. Now we have AI. We have robotics.
Yeah,
But
true.
we still need people more. We're thinking, we're acting differently. So leaders have a tremendous challenge to lead people in the new era. HR need to follow, and even they need to be even more proactive to tell them the management how they need to lead.
But it's shocking because I feel I agree with you, Abdulaziz, because especially after COVID, I feel COVID was like the catalyst to change. It just made things so much faster.
صح.
But it's just so interesting because I see it as well in where I work. It's much more difficult. People need more attention. People need more personalization. And everyone, it's like how every customer wants to be the only customer. I feel like every employee wants to be treated like the only employee, as if the focus is on them.
They want to feel special at their place of work.
And everyone wants to see
Makes sense.
a path, and I don't know, it's just different.
Hey, now it's a bit too much.
Yeah.
Like for example, they had this great resignation. Right, everyone is quitting their job for better work-life balance.
Yeah.
So who's gonna pay your bills? Okay. And this part, I said it is okay. So then it started my term, the great realization that oops, I need to go back to work, and it happened. It happened. Okay. And again, it's all about practicality. It's more about leadership and really knowing how you're living your day and how you're leading your life. I understand. We need to be appreciated. We need to have this balance. But again, balance is not clear. I cannot say that 90% of your time will be working at 10%. There is no global understanding of what is work-life balance. As long as it makes sense to you, then it makes sense.
Makes sense.
Other than that, I just need to appreciate that.
I see.
يعني for me, I keep pushing my team and I go for your kids' ceremonies, kindergarten. Do your best, but not all of them really appreciate it. So I was now waiting for them to say what is important for them. I'm not aligned. I do feel this is important and they will be missing out. But again, they need to mature and grow to realize what they're missing.
Okay.
And that's coaching. Coaching sometimes, I can tell Hussein what he needs to do. But I have to wait for 3 years for him to realize.
Yeah, of course. The
To help them
realization has to
to-
come from within.
I see the great realization moment.
Yes.
I see that.
Yeah.
In the HR world, some people have this perception that HR departments have this scary vibes, that gives off scary vibes. Is there any truth to that, or why do we have that common misconception? If it is a
It
misconception.
depends again to the organization. If usually for any successful organization, the HR are very much a good place to be,
A good place to be, but is
Most
it
likely.
like
and vice versa.
why is it scary to deal with HR departments?
Again,
Confront them, perhaps. It's so difficult to confront them. It's like, where's my salary? It's like,
confront them, even though I've been to very successful organizations, so I can tell that the people who are doing well in business, all right. So they know how to deal with their balance sheet and they're making
Yeah.
a profit after profit. The HR is very, it's a bit more positive and a happier place than the rest.
I see.
Because again, we are stressed.
Yeah,
And no matter what you do, people are not happy. They come to me, tell me, I want to go to Harvard. They go to Harvard, they're not happy. They tell me, I want to go to Dubai. They go to Dubai, they're not happy. Give me this e-learning. I give them the e-learning, they're not happy.
but because it's always greener on the other side, I think. Wherever they go, they're always unhappy until
Yes.
they realize that they have to be just happy with their own selves.
Dissatisfaction is a very
Fulfilled, as we said in the last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess my next question is, when you have someone who's like not a failure, but have you ever faced a hopeless case or a lost cause?
Yes.
And how do you deal with that?
I coach them along the way, but if they reach to a certain limit or a certain point that they cannot help themselves, I help them find another job.
Help them find a different job.
In my case, I coach from day one. I try to do my best to understand my team members, my colleagues even.
Okay.
But mainly my team members, because they report to me. Whether directly to me or through another manager. And if they say that they're leaving, I know that most likely I gave my best. Maybe an additional session,
Yeah.
more consultancy in the sense, not a
Yeah.
coaching, just to make sure how it works. And if not, I can help them weigh the
Pros and cons.
pros and cons of the next job
Yeah.
to help them decide whether they need to go or stay.
I see.
Fair.
So
All right.
All right. I feel like we're ready for a break, and we'll continue our conversation
Yes.
right after this.
We're back to continue the conversation with Abdulaziz Alroomi. So I have a question, right? So let's take again another hypothetical situation. X person, right? An X person just started working in this company, small, big, it doesn't matter. What does it need? What does it take for this person to go all the way from the rock bottom of the company to the leadership of the company? How can they climb up the ladder to impress HR or the people's department to actually climb up? What's the qualities needed?
reality speaking, you need to impress your leader.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so I would recommend every person to do their homework before joining any company, whether you're a fresh grad or a senior.
Yeah.
Read what's on the website. Show the people that you do your homework.
Yeah.
Make sure that everyone sees that you have what it takes to be successful. That is someone who's disciplined, does their homework, understand what their strength area,
Okay.
and they need to be explicit about it. So they say that I'm good at 1, 2, 3, and I need to improve it at 1, 2, 3. I'm not good at everything. I'm not trying to sell myself. and make sure that they understand what they've been signed for. So what is expected of me? I've been into organizations that I stayed for 3 months. I didn't know what is expected of me. Although I was a senior position.
It's like you just didn't know what your job description was.
No. And a lot of people have job description, but they don't actually know what it means. So make sure they understand the politics. Doing the job is the easiest part. It's not school anymore. Okay, it depends on the management mood.
Yeah.
Depends every organization culture, and within the culture there is another culture. So making sure that you are successful the first 6 months is crucial to your career.
And you're saying the success comes from essentially
aligning, my contribution with the management expectation, my manager's expectation. HR will come along the way.
Is there any kind of hinting that you're making towards emotional intelligence?
Emotional intelligence
I think it plays a huge factor in this.
Yes, but again, it's more of a cliche. The reality is it's a tool that you have. Like, for example, I'm very good at presentation skills. I don't have a chance to do everything through presentation. But if I had a chance, I need to nail it. Right. When you have good, strong emotional intelligence and you meet the CEO, it will help you to be recognized and remembered by the CEO in a good way. So these are some of the tools that you bring with you. However, you need to make sure that in the first year, what is expected of me, how I need to be successful, what are the vibes, and who I need to be aware of, negatively and positively. Who's my ally within the team? That plays a crucial part in your success.
You know what I feel? I feel people sometimes put too much on themselves. You know, when you go into a company and you're like, you want to prove yourself, so you end up staying until like 9 p.m. every day.
Right.
You're like the first in, the last out, and so on. So I kind of feel some people just feel like they have to burn themselves out to climb up the ladder, and I kind of feel it's unfair on them, to stay until like 10 p.m. working just to prove something to the boss or whatever.
I agree with you. It won't be bad to do it at the beginning.
To prove yourself, to show them what you're capable of.
Just brag. Just make sure that you're sending the right vibes. Okay. Honestly, I'm a manager. I have 20 people to look up for.
Yeah.
Okay, and I have my boss to support, and the management and what have you. Especially in a senior position. And then all of a sudden I receive this WhatsApp, thanks to WhatsApp now, okay, or Instagram, that this person is doing something extra, not necessarily only working longer hours.
Yeah.
You're expected to deliver training, and I'm doing some kind of gathering, a CSR, even through another department.
You're not asked for it.
I'm not asked for it.
Okay,
so it tells me that this person cares about the organization, loyal about the organization,
Fair.
cares about it, and has determination to do more for the organization. So it will give me that, just make sure that you send the right positive vibes as you go along.
I see. And a part of HR departments is, of course, job interviews.
Yes.
Why do some people fail their interviews, even though they had like great experience, and maybe the interview went well, but they still fail?
They don't fail. It just there is a lot of politics behind the decision. An organization, and that's what's my main area of focus. It's not black and white.
Right.
80% of it is purely politics, good or bad.
Yeah.
Right.
Good or bad. So it was never just straight being invited to an interview. I do the interview and then I get the job that I deserve. It was never like that. In any place or any person that does that. Most likely that you need always to be prepared. And when the right job comes, with a valid contract to be signed and a proper job offer, you need to be ready for.
Okay.
And because you're not going to look for, you don't have to be successful at every single job or every single interview. That I used to do before.
Yeah.
To give me that fulfillment. But I said, خلاص.
You have to do great in every single job interview.
I do my best and all my cards on this 1-2 jobs. And that is it.
Okay.
So as you mature, you know when to say no for, rather than to accept.
I see.
يعني for every 2 months I receive a job offer.
Okay.
One asked me to be a CEO of a company. One asked me to be a consultant. One asked me to go to another role, another organization.
Well, you're not interested.
You know what you want.
You know what you want.
You know what you want. Yeah.
And what does Abdulaziz want?
I cannot tell you in front of.
It seems like it's big goals.
Yeah, it's something related to career.
Okay.
It's more personal. So
Well, this is a place to get personal. On
Safe
the
space,
Untold.
safe
This
but
is a
not
safe
with
space.
everyone is listening.
Okay.
Just among you.
I'll switch it up. In certain workplaces, it just happens to have like one or two people that are constantly being used, and they
Yeah.
get labeled as this is favoritism.
Okay.
But they're being used because of their production, their productivity, and how
Yeah.
good they are.
Right.
But how do you handle the situation? Because people are just going to label it favoritism.
It's okay. They can do all they want. They can label all they want. It's that if you set the what they call the scorecard or the performance contract clear for everyone,
Right.
and you acknowledge, okay,
The hardest working people.
yeah, and it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy, and it's just a matter of acknowledging
Yeah.
the positive contributors.
Yeah.
Right.
People are more productive, not the ones who stay late. Okay, so am I promoting or awarding people for staying late or delivering results?
Right.
That's
just-
a big debate. That's a big debate. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't want them to stay late. I want them to finish the work,
Finish the
because
work
if you
on
stay
time.
late, you lose more electricity and more water. صح?
And then in certain places, that's overtime, so you don't
It's
want
over.
that.
يعني
Yeah.
no, we will not ask for overtime. It's okay.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
might ask. You're
Some might
right.
ask for
You're-
overtime, yeah.
It's about productivity. It's about positive engagement, teamwork. That's what you want in the organization. Loyalty. This is something that, and you can measure all of this by the way.
How can the individual who's being labeled as being played favoritism and all that deal with his coworkers who always,
We're not working as hard.
who always bring it up or make a thing of it? Like,
He just becomes more successful because he will be their leader,
okay.
whether they like it or not. They know it.
They know it.
They know it. It happened to me before. It happened to me before that, yes, they knew that I'm coming and I will take the lead.
Right.
I don't like to lead. I was very genuine with
The
everyone.
clock's ticking.
The clock is ticking. And what is more important, just in general, it's not about you being the leader or being their boss. It's about remembering you as a person who is genuine, who is a person of high value.
Absolutely.
Whatever that high value is. Okay? Morally, and from competence side, from technical side, this is most important. Because people will remember. They will leave organization and they will mention your name. And no one can stay for an organization forever. You're only loyal to your family.
It's true.
I have a question that actually you're a consultant, so I can actually take a consultation on the episode.
Yeah.
If I wanted to sit with someone right
Back
now,
them later.
if I was to sit with someone, okay, that's not performing and simply is affecting the productivity of the place where I work, and I just felt the need, hey, listen, this person doesn't fit with us anymore, and I actually need to, I hate the word fire him, but I have to say it, I hate it so much, but I have to fire that person. First of all, are you with firing? There's a lot of leaders that claim that they'd never fire anyone, which I don't know, okay, fair enough. And if you are with it, how would you do it?
Because if they didn't realize that they are low performers or they're being toxic to the organization, which most of them are toxic, will never explicitly say that they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you just make sure that you have milestones for every individual about their progress. So if they're not progressing over time, you basically tell them what you expect from me.
You see, that's the thing. So you're saying you have to be clear with them. Like, this is my expectation of you. You didn't meet the expectations.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Especially the first 100 days.
The first one.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing.
That's the thing. Yeah.
It's enough days to prove yourself.
Yes. Yes. And if you were fair, by and then we grow in this. A mature organization have a better onboarding. We call this an onboarding process.
Right.
Where others less mature, more entrepreneur, it's less. However, if you want to bring someone who works most of their time, for example, in organizations, into an entrepreneurship environment, most likely they will fail.
Because so we're saying 100%, because I think in entrepreneurship organizations, they're literally thrown into the ocean and they're like, swim.
Right.
But whereas in the big organizations, like, okay, now you have to jump slowly, to swim 100 meters
through the process.
I'll hold your hand.
Yes.
But in smaller places now.
It's not only that. It's also there's a lot of discipline. See, in organizations, first they need to make sure that you're one of them. Okay, it's a big tribal society.
So it's important to show loyalty.
Loyalty, yes. You fit. You live our values, and then you do your contribution. But don't mess up my system.
Great.
Okay.
Yes.
For 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 employees. Now, for an entrepreneur, I love you if you make money now.
That's
you
the
can mess up the
challenge, right?
system.
That's
yeah,
the
because
challenge,
because there is no system.
Yeah.
I don't expect you to be disciplined. We need to survive.
We want to see
So totally
results.
different. Yeah, totally different. And also, and we can imagine how this works with a PR department within an organization versus an HR versus technology. And this is how it goes. So it's very sensitive. It's very sensitive. I can see myself being a head of IT, which I might sometime, or head of sales. Okay, and I know how we'll be acting. I can see myself how I should be acting.
Abdulaziz, before we end the segment, I want to ask you, assuming Abdulaziz wasn't the head of leadership or people, and he was the head of IT from day one, would Abdulaziz have been any different? Because you're dealing with a lot of people briefly.
I think it takes me longer from the leadership, but I'll still be
on this
too
path.
interested on leadership. Yeah, but I'm very, very thankful that theoretically from writing books and coaching, of course, my role gave me a lot of exposure.
Yeah, sure, and that's what HR does.
Yes,
coach exposes you to a lot of people, and people teach you a lot.
Exactly, but now I'm after a certain time, I'm open to lead any group or organization.
Of course,
I like to challenge myself. Yeah.
All right. Amazing. Thank you so much for beautiful.
I hope you love HR now more, appreciate it more.
Well,
not HR, talent.
We never use HR as a word now. We say people's business.
People.
Head of people.
Head of people.
Thank you so much, Abdulaziz. Beautiful episode 2.0, as you said, with Abdulaziz. A lot to learn from you. Hopefully, we'll take it on board. At least I will.
Yeah. What do you mean by that?
Firing people, bringing people.
Okay. Yeah, I hope I never have to fire someone.
All right. We'll have to go on a break, and we'll be back to wrap up this beautiful episode.
Wow, even more engageful than the last time, and more information this time about HR and how the system works.
Yeah, I agree with him on one point though. I actually don't like the term HR as well, because human resources just makes us feel
like expendable.
Yeah, I like the word expendable.
Maybe you like the movie. Maybe you like the movie.
There we go.
All right.
So head of people is much better.
Head of people is much better.
All right, something to take from it at least.
Yeah. Well, we'll see you next time right here on the Untold. Hussein, Ajouz, Ahmad, Mazeedi. We'll see you next time.